Morsi's year in office, the Brotherhood made all the wrong political alliances, walked down all the wrong paths. So, first of all, it aligned itself not to the forces that helped Morsi get into the presidential palace, but to the forces against whom we were all fighting for the past couple of years. From day one, from his speech in Cairo University, which I attended the day, his inauguration speech, he made it very clear that he's siding by the police, he's siding by the military, he's siding by the status quo forces in Egypt and regionally and globally. So he allied himself to three main actors. To Mubarak's business cronies, the very inner circles of Mubarak. If you look at the first foreign trip or the trip to China, in which 70 businessmen were accompanied Morsi, there were at least 7 to 8 names of them from Mubarak's inner circles, very inner circles. The second is the bureaucracy, the Egyptian bureaucracy. He allied himself to the senior decision makers in the Egyptian bureaucracy, be it in the military or the police or other senior bureaucrats with their network of interests against which the revolution took place in the first place. This manifests itself, for instance, in the constitution and the status of the military in the constitution of 2012. The third type of alliance was the regional alliance. He made sure to not provoke the stronger actors in the region, namely the United States, Israel, and the Gulf. This was not only unethical and wrong, but also politically naive, because you will never be their man. They will never support you. No matter how much you give them, they will never support you. And this is why he lost those. He lost his allies who actually helped him make his way to the presidential palace, and was never good enough for his opponents. So he lost everybody. While doing so, he needed to maintain organizational unity by resorting to a very populist discourse and some populist policy that have no real impact. So he would constantly condemn what the businessmen, the fulul and the businessmen are doing to undermine his presidency. But at the same time, he has very good relations with the very same business cronies. He would dismiss Tantawi and Anan, but would maintain the special status for the military in the constitution. He would never mention the word Israel in his speeches, but would maintain a very good relation, a status quo relation with Israel, and would do everything possible to undermine actually the resistance organizations in Palestinian territories over the past couple of years. Parallel to that, what he had in mind was, number one, organizational unity in terms of the Brotherhood. And this is why they had to construct ideological battles over and over again. Because with the evident lack of competence of Morsi and of the Brotherhood at large, with the evident inability to construct or to develop a constructive path in terms of policies and so on and so forth, the alternative they had was to maintain unity by creating an enemy, by othering the other. And you do that by resorting to the Islamist secular divide all the time. And remember, for instance, after the constitutional declaration, which had nothing to do with Islam, with Sharia, with anything, it was purely authoritarianism. Not even on a very superficial level, not even in terms of wording. It had nothing to do with Islam. But the next, when there are massive demonstrations against it, you see his allies and his organization calling for a million-man march in support of legitimacy and Sharia. But what has Sharia got to do with any of that? Nothing. But it's always ushered in to fuel this ideological polarization upon which the Brotherhood can capitalize to maintain organization unity. This is what he has been doing for the past his year in office, and then it's only ironic that you see him today and his supporters chanting against military rule. I mean, thank you. It's only because of you that we have military rule. I remember Ahmed Abdurati, his chief of staff, on July 1st, 2012, during Morsi's speech at Cairo University. I was there, and when the Supreme Council of Armed Forces walked into the hall, along a few other friends, we started chanting against them, against their presence. So Ahmed Abdulati's response was ensuring that, of course, making sure that we all shut up, silence it, and chanting for the military. And then he used the very same words we were using during his trial on November 4th of this year. And this is ironic. This tells you how unprincipled the positions are. Because in July 2012, you knew quite well that the military had its hands dirty with the blood of Egyptians in Maspero, Mohammed Mahmoud, Majlis al-Wuzara, Port Said, and other occasions. You have the virginity tests. You have all these scandals, but you can still turn a blind eye because they are your friends today. The moment you're not their ally, you start chanting against them. So actually, what you're doing is, I cannot believe that when you say down with military rule, you mean down with military rule. You actually mean, I want to be the military's ally. I don't want my political opponent to be their ally. But to be very honest here, this also applies to their political opponents who have been chanting against military rule as long as the military was siding by the Brotherhood. And when this changed, they have now all shut up when it comes to military violations. Which, I mean, we've just had virginity tests again, and pregnancy tests actually a couple of weeks ago in Alexandria, and nobody's talking about it. So it's a rotten, corrupt political class altogether.